Now, James, we have been hearing these terms, consumerization of IT, and right now we'd like to talk a little bit more about that.
Sure.
And to join us on stage, please welcome Mr. Brian Ma of IDC.
Hey, Brian.
Hi.
Good to see you, man.
How are you? Good to see you.
Great to
Thanks.
see you.
Hello there,
Hi.
Brian. You'll be the right person to tell us more about that. What exactly is consumerization of IT?
Sure. Well, the consumerization of IT is a phenomenon where products that were initially designed for consumers are increasingly making their way more into the workplace, right? Influencing how things are going and so forth. If you think about the way IT departments have tended to operate in the past, they would issue a standard corporate issue laptop, and you'd probably keep that separate from the PC or the devices that you may have had at home. But what has changed recently in the past few years is, of course, people are increasingly saying, hey, you know what? I want this other device. It might be thinner, it might be sleeker, it might have more battery life, maybe simply I just want more style, or I want my, my personal data together with this, with my work device. I don't want to have those separate. And, if you think about it, when you tried to do that in the past, the thing that IT departments would say to you was, go away, I'm not going to support that on my network. But what has changed is that senior management, C-level executives are saying, hey, you know what, CIO, get me hooked up. I've got this device. I need it plugged in so that I can do work. And so the lines between consumers and work is blurring more and more. And that's having an impact on how IT departments have to manage this incoming, phenomenon.
We'll get to the implications in just a bit. But in the meantime, James, what has your research been telling you?
Sure. Well, actually, it lines up very well with his comments. As we do things like customer councils, and this is cross-industry, it's not one industry, but around the world, it's not going to happen, it is happening. There's a permeation of the end user again. So the end user is really the end customer, and they're driving the desire, and they want to have products that they feel good about, they want to be associated with, and they're forcing those in the classic IT shops. And so what we see is in different companies are at different levels. Some are adopting faster or slower, but as we're taking that input into our thinking, we're bringing designs out that deliberately push on this idea of the blurring between classic commercial and consumer needs and bringing those together.
And what has been the implication of that for businesses, number one, and secondly, what's their biggest concern?
Yeah, well, it kind of comes together, right? If you think about what an IT manager has to go through now with all these so-called rogue devices coming onto the network, it's quite a nightmare, right? There's quite a number of things that they have to go through and consider. Probably the most obvious one is security. You think about someone bringing their own personal device in, it's got, corporate data on there that maybe gets lost or what have you. That's something that they have to try to manage. Now, there are other factors, of course, too, maybe simply about hardware design. Is it durable enough to meet corporate standards? Is it in compliance? A number of various issues. And don't forget, a lot of times, we're not just talking about PCs, we're talking about multiple other devices. There are multiple OSs in play here. So from a manageability perspective, there's quite a bit that the IT department has to go through.
I don't want to be in those shoes. James, what is your take on this?
Well, actually, in some ways, he just described a lot of the work that we've done bringing our next new product.
Well, you know what? Yes, it's a complex issue, and like you've said, HP has a solution for that.
Absolutely. And I think it's going to show up soon. We hope.
And there you go. What a pretty
Imagine
solution we have there.
Imagine that.
Ladies and gentlemen, presenting
Thank
the
you, thank
HP
you.
solution, the EliteBook Folio.
So as Brian was describing this challenge of end users want something more compelling, a sleeker design, but the IT staff are very concerned about, security is probably the utmost thing. So having things like trusted platform module management within these type products, having network manageability is a huge thing, right? Having the legacy ports. Quite frankly, not every enterprise is off of VGA connectors, for example. USB ports. There's a lot of legacy type connectivity that is in core to a lot of corporations. And so we go through the list of this product, 9-hour battery life out of the chute. This actually has an attachable extended battery, so you can get 20 hours of battery life. This is what I'd call the second generation Folio. So this is EliteBook class, all the attributes of an EliteBook from a quality, reliability, standards perspective, but it's got a full Ultrabook profile. It is thin, slim. If you look at the attributes of broadband connectivity, you're going to have wireless broadband. As I mentioned, the manageability case, vPro technology for management. All the legacy ports, 9-hour battery life, 20-hour battery life, high-def screen, Again, so we think this is a nice way, in my words, to sexy up the core. So that classic commercial managed IT workhorse product has been converged to a very elegant looking product. Then, by the way, instead of having to carry a bag of dongles, if you want to plug it into a VGA port, you've got it. If you want an RJ45 using a jack, you've got it. If you want a smart card, you've got it. And so there's no compromise.
You're a good salesman. Brian is nodding away and smiling.
What do you think, Brian? You think that would work?
What do you think?
It is nice and light. I'll tell you, compared to the brick that my IT department issued to me, I'd much rather carry something like this.
Excellent.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Brian Ma and James Mouton. Let's give them a big round of applause.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.